Alright, so I thought I'd do a quick Apple video. Some pretty cool Apple news came out in the last 48 hours. The big one is that Apple is now selling unlocked iPhones in the US. And for those of you who don't know, the whole concept of an unlocked phone um, is in contrast to the current system of subsidied phones but carrier lock-in. When you buy a cell phone now and say you pay $199 for an iPhone, Apple's not selling the iPhone for $199. They're selling it for like $599. But what AT&T is doing is saying, okay, we'll put $400 down on the phone to make your upfront purchase price less, and then we'll get that money back and more, hopefully, in subsidies down the road or in monthly charges. So what Apple's doing is something that Nokia, Sony, some HTC phones have done, and that is you pay for the phone up front. So Apple offers the iPhone for $649 for the 16 gig or $749 for the 32, which seems like an outrageous price. But that's because we're not used to unlocked phones in the U.S. But what that lets you do is you can use any carrier you want. So you can get a micro SIM from T-Mobile and use it on T-Mobile. The big problem with that is that Apple didn't add in support for T-Mobile's 3G or 4G network. What they really did was they're calling it an unlocked model, but I'm guessing all they've done is a software unlock and put a new model number on it because the specs haven't changed. The bands for the 3G radio haven't changed. You can just use any micro SIM. Why is it important? Well, if you have T-Mobile and you do want an iPhone, uh, you to unlock an iPhone before and get it on T-Mobile required some software hacking. Not anything huge. Um, it probably kept you off the latest version of iOS, and it was probably a little bit messy. So now, if you're an iPhone lover, but you're on T-Mobile, you can just buy it from them straight. And so that's pretty neat. And also, if you travel a lot, if you're an AT&T customer and you travel a lot, you probably know that AT&T's international calling data and text plans are a little bit outrageous. There was a whole lot of stink about AT&T's international plans when the iPhone first came out, and I don't think things have improved. I think people just now know that when you have an iPhone and you're abroad, turn data roaming off, make as few calls as possible. Now what you'll be able to do is go overseas. Say you go to the UK and you're like, okay, I'm here. So they have shops a lot of times at airports where you can get a micro SIM and then say prepay for a certain amount of minutes and certain amount of data, and it will be vastly cheaper than roaming with AT&T. So what Apple's done is they've given you the choice now where you can do that. You can go overseas or go to T-Mobile and not have to worry about any software restrictions getting in the way. So that's pretty neat. Um, I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, I'll jump to T-Mobile, and then I realized, when I realized that they didn't add support for T-Mobile 3G or 4G, that's going to be a problem because I do a lot of media consumption on my phone, Twitter with photos and videos, and uh, yeah, so that's an issue. Um, and I have to question their timing on this because the HTC Sensation comes out tomorrow, which is T-Mobile's new 4G phone, and it it's from HTC. It packs quite a punch. It's got dual core processors, a I think the same resolution display as the iPhone on a larger screen, 4.3 inches, but it's received rave reviews. Reviewers are uh, commenting on how for the first time a 4.3-inch handset doesn't feel huge. They managed to shrink the screen bezel and make it a pretty pocketable phone for such a huge screen. And dual core, 4G, 1080p recording, a lot of specs that blow the iPhone out of the water. So I can't help but think this may have been. It's not going to replace the Sensation 4G for people on T-Mobile, but it's at least something to give them pause, perhaps, to say, do I really want this, or do I want, um, an unlocked iPhone on T-Mobile? So the timing there, I wish they had just thrown in 3G support for T-Mobile. I mean, I can't imagine that AT&T is happy about them selling an unlocked phone, because AT&T gets a shitload of money from, people canceling contracts when the new iPhone comes out, or roaming overseas. And so I can't believe that AT&T is going to be thrilled about this. And so I feel like if they were going to piss AT&T off, they might as well have just added 3G support for T-Mobile. I mean, we know that Nokia does pentaband support so that you can use it 3G on T-Mobile or in the, on AT&T or overseas. And so I think, I'm sure it was a cost thing. We're pretty certain that T-Mobile is going to be supported on the next iPhone. But anyways, whatever. And then the other piece of news was Apple's MobileMe. For those of you who don't know, MobileMe is it's their current cloud, because they announced iCloud, which will replace MobileMe. MobileMe does pretty much everything that iCloud does, minus the backups and minus the music. So we're talking about currently MobileMe does calendar, email, contacts, syncing. So from my Mac laptop to my iPhone to my iPad, blah blah blah. The thing is, MobileMe also includes a web interface. So if you go to me.com, you log in, like Gmail, you can access your calendar and contacts from there. It also does web hosting. You can host a website that you can split your web hosting from your mail on a certain, data. I think it's 20 gigs, or maybe 10 gigs. But in the wake of iCloud, everybody thought, ooh, iCloud's awesome, and it's free, except for the music matching spot or service. And then people started asking questions about iCloud. Well, what happened to web hosting? And will there still be web access? And what we found is that web hosting will be cut July 30th, 2012. And that there's not going to be a web interface for iCloud, which I find weird, because if the whole point of iCloud is getting, keeping your contacts in sync, and why would you not include a web front end? Clearly, you know how to do a web front end after MobileMe. And so it seems like a weird business decision that after spending that time and money getting MobileMe working correctly, that you're moving to iCloud, and, it just seems like a no-brainer to me that, the real investment really is in, a data center to store all that information. And so giving a simple web front end doesn't seem like a big task. But it kind of pisses me off, and I feel as though it's a pretty major step back, that really what they're catering to are people who are, less power users, not power users, and leaving the rest of us out cold. I mean, I like the fact that I can currently go to any computer with an internet connection and log in and see my stuff. If my iPhone battery goes dead and I need to catch a number, I can, if I don't have my laptop, I can just go to any computer with the web connection. So it seems awkward. It seems like a pretty shitty business decision, especially for loyal customers who have had this functionality now for a while and who would like to continue to have it even if we were paying for it. I mean, people got upset about MobileMe having to pay 99 bucks a year for it. When you look at, say a hosted exchange service that just does, mail with not as much storage or contact and calendar syncing, MobileMe was a really good deal. And then you throw in, integrated Apple support and web hosting. And so if you were using all the services, not, Web Gallery, if you were using most or all of the services that MobileMe offered, it was a really good deal. And I'm sad to see Apple back away from that. I don't know why they've done what they've done, but I'm not pleased. So I may be moving my stuff back over to Gmail. I just, like 8 months ago, moved everything to MobileMe. But if they're getting rid of the web interface, I'll probably move back to Google. But anyways, that's it for now.